You're watching Explore Tulsa.
You know, people say, well, you must have really cool plates at your house. And I'm like, no, we eat off the ones that haven't sold or that got chipped or whatever, you know. Someday I'll make my wife a set of real ones. But anyway. I got a job at a studio in Nacogdoches, Texas, at the college down there. I think it was 79, and they needed somebody to mix clay, mix glazes, and fire kilns. And I said, I don't know any of that. Oh, and run their wood shop. I knew the wood shop, so I said, I'm a quick study. So I started mixing clay and glazes and started watching people throw, and within a week or two I was like, well, hell, I'm gonna try that. So I'd go in and put a mixer going at night, and I'd grab some clay and get on a wheel and start practicing. I don't consider what I make art. I think I get lucky sometimes, and a piece can transcend maybe that utilitarian thing to becoming an object worthy of just being seen, but that's lucky. I think it's the most immediate introduction to learning three-dimensional form, because the only thing close to it is working wood on a lathe, but even there's a tool between you and the material. Here, even though we use tools, these are in direct contact with the material. And at some point, you're almost like, what's the point? You can go down to some store and buy a mug for $1. Why spend all the time to learn to make one? But there's something very gratifying about handcrafted, artisan type work, both making it and using it, or having it in your home or whatever. I try and get people on the wheel within 15 minutes of them being here. I get them to cut their balls of clay and put them in a bag. I give them a first demo, and I encourage my students, both, I require it of my college students, but even the folks that come in just for fun, I encourage them heavily to learn how to make just a straight 1-pound cylinder, because that's the basis of pretty much everything we do. I always tell people, if you're a perfectionist, think of Little Red Riding Hood, and that perfectionism is the cloak, and you hang that crap on the hook by the door when you come in, because the more you strive for success, the less you're gonna get at the beginning. So it's more learning the process than worrying about a finished product. Some people learn it very quickly, but the exciting thing is when you see somebody that's working, and it's the work that counts. I don't mean the product, it's the time you spend at the wheel, but they get that first right cylinder, and man, they're proud of it. I mean, you can tell. You hear artists say like, oh, if I could never paint again, my life would be empty. If I lost my business or whatever and ended up living on a pier down in Pensacola, I'd be happy catching fish and crabs and eating them. At the same time, would I miss it? Yeah. It's kind of cool to think that before there were cities and lights and you could see every star in the sky at night and the sun was still a god and the trees were talking to you, that people were doing this. I like making stuff. I've always liked making stuff, and when I found clay, I just enjoy the process. I don't really think too much in terms of selling. I'm not a good businessman for myself, but I just like making the stuff, and I like teaching. I like teaching a lot.